everybody say the same thing before I fought with Golovkin. Oh, he's a monster. He's gonna knock out Canelo. He's this and that. At the end of the day, it's not the same. Being in the ring with other fighters like being in the ring with me. It's different. Benavidez is a good fight. It's a good fighter, but I mean, man, I've been in the ring in a hard fights with every single good fighter there. So
what an interesting turn of events. Canelo Alvarez is finally responding to the news that he is going to fight David Benavidez for $600 million. Canelo Alvarez has finally said something about the news that he will be fighting David Benavidez for $600 million. But everyone doesn't like it because Michael Benson just confirmed the WBC's decision, which means he has to fight Benavidez. President Mauricio Solomon of the WBC has made it clear that Benavidez will have to fight Alvarez in March. The fight scene is already very exciting. But this new change makes it even more so.
This defeated Plant in March of this year.
Yeah.
So his date for mandatory position is March 2024.
Wow. All right. So, but Canelo has the option to take that earlier. That's
yeah. They can fight it.
Canelo Alvarez is a famous boxer whose name is linked to success. His image is strong and impressive, but it looks like he will be facing David Benavidez, a boxer whose skill and desire are the same as Alvarez's when he was younger. His tweet. As of March, Michael Benson said that David Benavidez will be officially named Canelo Alvarez's WBC required challenger. WBC President Mauricio Solomon said again that he hasn't said when the fight will happen. But he did say that Canelo will be free to fight someone else in May. Looking at the picture, it looks like the moment everyone has been waiting for might finally come. Canelo is getting ready for the long-awaited fight that has fans very excited. Mauricio Solomon, head of the WBC, said in a statement last year that if David B. Solomon knew that a fight between Benavidez and Canelo would be the next step, he would set it up.
I saw a headline that said that we know David Benavidez has been campaigning to get an opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez. I saw a headline that stated that, Canelo Alvarez is going to be mandated, should he be victorious this Saturday. Obviously, that's putting the carriage before the horse. But if he's victorious this Saturday, does the winner of this fight inherit David Benavidez as a mandatory challenger?
Benavidez is the mandatory for the WBC, and the date for mandatory is March. So the winner of the fight, if it's Charlo, he will decide if he remains in super middle, goes back to super welter. But I just concentrate on.
Moreover, Solomon confirmed the possibility of Benavidez as a mandatory getting a chance against Canelo Alvarez, saying yes, it's very possible. Benavidez confirms his status as a mandatory in March. He further detailed ongoing negotiations between the camps, saying if Canelo has a fight for May, they're in the same company already talking, and they've been negotiating. We're leaving them to negotiate. We will see what happens from May, and then the WBC can intervene in the meantime. Alvarez has confirmed that he is set to face an American opponent on May 4th, aligning with the Cinco de Mayo weekend, although Gerald Charlo, motivated by his brother's defeat, was initially seen as a top candidate. It's worth noting that David Benavidez, also an American, remains a contender. The opponent remains uncertain as to whether Alvarez will face Benavidez or if the WBC will intervene to compel him to give Benavidez an opportunity in the interim. Alvarez has already dismissed any chance of facing Terence Crawford next. Imagine the entertainment if Alvarez and Terence Crawford were to engage in a pound-for-pound showdown, yet Alvarez has dampened any excitement surrounding this prospect, showing little interest despite Crawford's impressive victory over Errol Spence Jr. last year. He remains unable to secure the fight he wants its worth, considering the large size difference between the two, with Canelo outweighing Crawford by 20 pounds, although Canelo had previously suggested the chance of facing an American opponent for his May 4th bout in Las Vegas. He has now firmly eliminated Crawford from consideration. When questioned directly by Box, a Canelo replied with a simple no. Financial incentives don't appear to be a driving factor for Canelo either, while he sees the potential for a lucrative matchup. He deems the criticism he would face for fighting Crawford as not worth the trouble. Canelo told me that they were going to attack me no matter what. I have nothing to gain and everything to lose if I beat him. Everyone will say he was too small nevertheless. The fighter from Guadalajara will be going into the ring on Cinco de Mayo weekend. This suggests that his next fight is scheduled for May 4, 2024. The fight will take place in Las Vegas, with possible venues being the T-Mobile Arena and NGGM Arena. Meanwhile, after his victory against Charlie, Canelo was asked about his next opponent and answered bluntly, "I don't think Kara." On the other hand, Benavidez has publicly challenged Canelo to a showdown for the undisputed status at 168 pounds. The Nada said Canelo has no one else to fight. "If he wants to give me the fight today, tomorrow, or whenever he wants, I'll be here. My work is not yet complete. If Canelo doesn't want to, I beat everyone else. I'll keep fighting." It's a deep division. However, it seems that the Mexican has chosen a different opponent if that arrangement fails to materialize. Benavidez will be ready and waiting thanks to his ties with O'Heyman SPBC, with whom Canelo has a 3-fight deal.
There are very few things that piss me off, contrary to what you would normally believe. I don't get pissed off at much, because most things don't matter that much, but I love the sport of boxing. I'm like, what about David Benavidez, the natural super middleweight, who's 28-0 with 24 knockouts, who's been begging for Canelo to get into the ring with him?
Instead, the sport's most famous global superstar might want to fight. But the person who took over as the pound-for-pound number one after Alvarez beat Charlo, Crawford, said on social media that Canelo vs. Crawford is the biggest fight in boxing. Canelo put an end to the rumors by saying, "Right now, the fight with Terence Crawford doesn't make sense. I just want to enjoy this. It's about that would capture audiences. But we might have to exercise."
Benavidez Canelo, man. You think Benavidez could beat Canelo? And any thoughts? You know, a week removed from that Benavidez Plant fight.
That's a tough fight. It's a tough fight, because people just look at this matchup, but it's styles that makes the fight. And Canelo does a lot of things really well inside the ring, and he'll get up for a fight like that. He'll really get up. But Benavidez is the real deal. I mean, I love him as a fighter. Love him as a fighter.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch. Very entertaining. I mean, I don't know where Canelo is at now. After didn't he come off of an injury?
Yes.
I don't know where he's at with that. You got to kind of see that. Benavidez young and in his prime. So it would be a great fight.
It'd be a good bump, like you said.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
ER emphasizes the main importance of PPV success in determining the viability of high-profile fights. His analysis is grounded in a deep understanding of the boxing industry, pointing out that while a fight against Crawford may have its merits based on athletic competition, from a business standpoint, it pales in comparison to the potential revenue that could be generated from a Benavidez versus Alvarez fight. Herb said, "No, I know the numbers. I know the business. No, it's not bigger. It has nothing to do with whether or not somebody deserves the fight or whether they should fight. We're just talking about the business. Do the Benavidez versus Canelo fight and Crawford versus Canelo is no comparison, showing the discrepancy between the appeal of fights to boxing efficient AOS and their commercial success. Eller abuses the example of the highly anticipated yet commercially overshadowed fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Despite its significance in the boxing community, it did not reach the PPV numbers of other major fights, such as the one involving Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. He went on to say Terence Crawford is the best boxer in the sport. He has shown that, but it has nothing to do with the business. You need to know what that means. Some examples are Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, who are both great fighters. My favorite boxer has always been Tank and Ryan, but everyone knows that Errol is my favorite. The most talked about fight in the last 6 or 7 years was between Spence and Crawford, two young, unbeaten boxers in their prime. He stresses how important it is to make smart choices that respect the competitive nature of the sport and also make sure that it can be supported financially.
As a fighter.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch. Very entertaining. I mean, I don't know where Canelo is at now. After didn't he come off of an injury?
Yes.
I don't know where he's at with that. You got to kind of see that. Benavidez young and in his prime. So it would be a great fight.
It'd be a good bump, like you said.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
It's all about long-term planning and picking the right battles. ER commentary sheds light on the complex factors behind organizing blockbuster boxing events, according to Eller. The business said something else. That fight did half of what Tank's fight did. And their fight did very well, but again, You just have to understand how this works, and when you have the kind of experience that we've had, understanding what these marketplaces look like, piracy, and all the factors that are involved with the success of a PPV event. It just comes Herb said, see, we're not in a situation over here where we're losing money. You have one promoter in particular who doesn't give it's like it doesn't matter, but we try to make smart, conscientious shows. Is sometimes you make fights people don't agree with, but again, there's always a plan, a method to the madness, and there's a long-term plan through his experienced view. Eller articulates the subtle dynamics at play in the boxing business, emphasize the need for strategic decision-making in the chase of the sport's growth and prosperity. Eller said, I'm excited for this card to kick off for Amazon Prime. This will be a tremendous show full of great fights. No, this is not the all-star team, but these are some very good fights, and we think there's going to be a great response to the support. I haven't really thought about that, but if you ask me about the business of which fight is bigger, the Benavidez fight is bigger. It's a much bigger fight. Meanwhile, Juan Manuel Marquez, the iconic former Mexican boxer, has expressed his desire for Canelo to take on David Benavidez in the ring, urging for the fight to happen at the earliest chance.
See that fight, Benavidez Canelo, and many people want to see the fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Hey, and how does it feel to be in the Hall of Fame, man? How does it feel to be?
I feel great. I feel great after the many years of career.
Yes.
This is the last step to get the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I feel great. I feel very happy.
Let me ask both. Do y'all feel like? Let me ask both of y'all. Do y'all feel like Canelo? Do y'all dislike that statement about not fighting Mexican fighters?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like because there's a lot of great Mexican fighters, you know, that Canelo can make the fight happen. You know, I feel like it feels such for the Mexican people, bro. Why not all break bread each other? Why not? Let's make a big fight happen. We all get paid, and you know, we put on for Mexican.
Many Mexican people want to see the fight Canelo Benavidez. I don't know. The people want to see the people that I don't know. The promoters needs to make the fight.
In another interview, Marquez said he is more than a year here as an official challenger, and I think the most feasible thing is that the World Boxing Council will have to disown Canelo as champion if he doesn't accept the fight instantly because he is their official challenger. It could be in May or September, but I think the most important thing is that he's the official challenger and has to meet the Mexican fighter that bout fails to materialize. Marquez pushes for the WBC to disassociate from Canelo due to his refusal to accept the challenge. Benavidez is raising his hand and is hitting on the desk saying, I deserve the chance now. What does the body have to do if Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to fight Benavidez? They have to strip him of the title, they have to reject him. He added, on the other hand, Canelo previously acknowledged in an interview with Hugo Sanchez that he plans to continue his boxing career for at least another 4 years. Canelo said, from 28 to 29 years old is where I have felt the best. I've always said that at 37 is a good age to enjoy what I've done with my family or other things in my work, and that's what I think. But I said I would debut at 18, and I did it at 15. However, before contemplating retirement, Canelo cautioned and that his goal is to arrange a bout at Mexico's premier sports venue, the ACE Stadium in Mexico City. Yes, I am interested in fighting at the ACE Stadium. I would love to have a fight before retiring at the ACE said. Canelo should be noted that after beating Gerald Charlo, Canelo Alvarez said, I will fight again on 5th 2020 for against anyone. I don't care, throw me anyone. No one can beat me. Another interesting aspect, we know that among the many opponents Alvarez has faced, the encounter with Shane Mosley stands out as one of the most challenging. Despite Alvarez emerging victorious, Mosley bore witness to the burgeoning talent of the young boxer over a decade that has elapsed since that bout, and Mosley now thinks David Benavidez possesses the potential to dazzle against Alvarez.
Benavidez, if they fight, what do you think?
I think it's a really good fight. Like I said, I'm a Benavidez fan, so I think Benavidez could have the edges bigger and taller, but Canelo's a great fighter, so I don't know.
It's good for boxing. It'll be a big one.
It's great for boxing.
In a recent talk with Fight Hype, Mosley elaborated on Benavidez's attributes that make him a formidable opponent for Canelo. He also mentioned Benavidez's recent triumph over Dimitri. Andre praised Benavidez's relentless fighting spirit and his mental toughness, characteristics that he thinks set Benavidez apart as an exceptional fighter. Here's what Mont said. Benavidez is a beast, not just when he's fighting, but all the time. He has that mindset, and I love watching fighters like that. It was kind of hard for Andre to do, because it's not his way. He is not as big as David, but he still fought and gave his all. Canelo is going to be a good fight too, because he isn't going to be able to sit back and just counterpunch. He's going to have to fight the whole time. Mosley's insight suggests that a fight between Canelo and Benavidez would not only be competitive, but could also push Alvarez to adapt his strategy against an opponent who brings a different set of advantages to the ring. Mosley further added, "It's going to be a great fight. I'm not saying he's going to walk through him like he did Boo, but I'm saying it's going to be a great fight. I know Canelo can crack, and he has good counter shots. I've been in the ring with him to finish off his thoughts." Mosley also said that Benavidez's biggest advantage over Alvarez is that Canelo is very fast and has a good ring IQ. However, he still thinks that Pavs might be a little too big for him because he's too tall and has long arms, which was a problem when Canelo fought Bivol. This talk explains the strategic factors and physical requirements that go into high-level boxing matches. It also highlights how interesting it would be to see a fight between.
Consider Benavidez.
We'll see. We'll see. We 100% focus on this fight, but everything is possible right now.
So is the plan to go back-to-back with the brothers? You said no up there, so that's not the plan?
It's not my plan. Right now, I'm focused 100% in Jermel, but you never know.
A question about his thoughts on a possible fight between Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez was asked right after the press conference for his March 30th fight. He answered right away, saying that he was a big fan of Benavidez and calling him an absolute monster and absolute animal at the time. She says, "I look and aspire to the throwback." She then goes on to say, "Fighters, you know, I feel like fighters these days in this modern era are just a bunch of, that's just my opinion, the old throwback. When I grew up watching boxing in the 2000s, everyone just fought the best, and that's what I am." But promoter Sanchez Lukovic says the planned fight between Canelo and Benavidez will not happen. When asked by ProBox TV about the possibility of an Alvarez versus Benavidez fight in 2020, Lukovic said that Canelo Alvarez would leave a legacy, but it would be tainted because he didn't fight the best boxer at the time, Benavidez. His kids and maybe even grandchildren will ask him one day why he didn't fight. Since Canelo says he wants the best fights, he has now said he will fight an American in Las Vegas on May 4th at one moment. The deal named Gerald Charlo, but we don't know who the American is. Abel Sanchez, a former trainer, says that David Benavidez hasn't beaten any important opponents to get a chance to fight Canelo Alvarez, who is the undisputed super middleweight king.
David is steadily improved, and I think as a coach, that's what you look for in a fighter. You look in a young fighter, it doesn't matter the age, just fight by fight, he seems to be getting better.
David Benavidez has never lost a fight, but Sands doesn't think that his recent wins over Dimitri, a 35-year-old middleweight who hasn't fought in a while, and Caleb Plant, a former Canelo knockout victim, and a 12-round decision didn't impress Sanchez. Canelo asked, will he be paid more to fight? Benavidez, will he get more money to fight Crawford or Charlo? It's going to be the same. I think David is the closest to merit that fights with Canelo, but one fight isn't going to do it, according to El Sanchez. Benavidez's recent wins over a 35-year-old active middleweight Dimitri Andrade in November, as well as his 12-round decision victory against Caleb Plant, a past victim of Canelo's knockout, failed to impress. Abel emphasizes that Benavidez must overcome Jamal Charlo to earn a matchup against Canelo. Interestingly, Sanchez ignores David Morrell Jr., a seemingly invincible super middleweight fighter, in his assessment. According to Sanchez, look at the record of Crawford. He's never fought anybody at that level. I would have liked to have seen Crawford fight Charlo. The bigger Charlo take him away from Canelo. If he beats Charlo now, we're talking. Do you know who has the right to call the shots? Canelo, because he's already done it. Look at what he's done compared to the other guys. Andre hadn't fought in how long, and he is a 160-pounder. I thought David fought well in his last fight, but he's got torn the right to fight. Canelo, quit talking so much and go out and fight somebody. Why hasn't he fought? Charlo has to stand in line for the guy that is running the show. Canelo is the only one that has a right to call his own moves. Why? Because nobody has ever done what he's done to this point. David hasn't had one good win where we can say, wow, what did he do to Plant? He designed the Plant. Sanchez thinks that if Benavidez aims to vie for a chance against Canelo, he ought to face Morrell instead of the 33-year-old middleweight competitor. Gerald Charlo, it's foreseeable that even if Bennett's were to defeat Gerald, he wouldn't garner recognition due to John activity, his weight class mismatch at 168, and evident personal problems that have adversely impacted his once promising career. So that's all from today's video. If you liked it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our future videos.